Hello travelers, I'm bringing you a full moon, a supermoon, total lunar eclipse reading. I think I posted it up as a solar eclipse on the website, and that is incorrect. My apologies. I've been going through it with the website, y'all. It is a total lunar eclipse occurring on January 20th, which is this weekend, I believe. Yes, it is. This eclipse will fall at 0 degrees Leo, and it goes back to the total lunar eclipse in Leo, 0 Leo, at the millennium, 2000, the year 2000. Now, you have always heard me speak about how eclipses are game changers, and that eclipses tend to hide things. It is like an information blackout, so to speak. It is also the idea that it's a cycle trying to end. It runs anywhere from 6 months to 19 years, and this is the year 2019. So back in 2000, Gisborne, and anybody out there in Gisborne, Australia, if you're watching me and I mangle the name of your city, I apologize. That was the first city to welcome in the millennium. Clinton and Gore were still in the White House, and we were coming up on the presidential election of Bush versus Gore. The Dow that year, that day, January 21st of 2000, it might have not been that day, but that month, ended on a high because this was the introduction of all of the tech companies. Apple introduced the first iPhone. All of your companies like Google, it was the invention of Google, Facebook, all of these things came about right after the millennium. Now what you're seeing is somewhat of a decline in the not popularity, but in the reputations of some of these companies. There's a lot of talk about privacy and data collection, and Apple, who just hit the first $1 trillion company on the stock market in the history of the world, lost a whole bunch of money. And so this past quarter, you have been hearing me since last year try to quote unquote sound the warning to you about Uranus moving into Taurus. Taurus is the sign, it is the sign of the bull. That is the sign of Wall Street, the stock market. I have been telling you guys for a year now that your personal finances eventually will be affected. We are now under a government shutdown going on a month. And a lot of times you guys are listening to me, and you're listening, but I don't think you're really understanding what I'm saying to you. So when I tell you that eventually what happens on a global scale will touch you, it will affect you eventually, this is what I mean. It is not just government employees that are being affected by the shutdown. This is grinding our economy to a halt. Then we're looking at the idea of Brexit. Nobody saw that crap coming yesterday, but I think I remember telling you guys a few months ago that my guides were telling me you were going to get a chance to re-vote on Brexit. So any of my clients that are in England, I want you to, of course you have to decide what is best for you, but you must think long and hard and not along political lines. But you need to look at this shit from a realistic standpoint, because it will affect you. It will affect your life moving forward. Whatever that means for you, only you can decide what is in your best interest. And you should vote for always what is in your own best interest, right? Because what we're looking at with the sign of Taurus is we're looking at stability. We're looking at security. These are not just financial things that we should be trying to stabilize and feel secure about. This represents property. It represents land. It represents possessions. And so your life can be affected in different ways. So what I'm going to do is I was talking to you about the Pluto in Capricorn. The last time Pluto was in Capricorn, America became a country. For those of you who know your history, look back at why those people left England, and it's so weird because the astrology is kind of linking the two countries across time. London, England is our sister or our mother country. This is where the people came from who founded the country of America. And the reasons why they left. They were political, they were religious, they were socioeconomic. And so it is on a parallel track, so to speak. So Pluto in Capricorn, if you just look at it from a general standpoint, is about people who have power or groups and organizations who have power. So back in the day, that was the King of England and the monarchy. And the people who left were feeling oppressed. So what did they do? They got on boats and they came clear across the other side of the world and found themselves a new country. So when Pluto shows up in Capricorn, it is about those who have power having to go through a power struggle. And those people who had no power now moving into place to gain power. So this is a switch. All right. Some of this, I know I may sound like a crazy person to some of you, but the astrology is playing out. The astrology is there. It points the way by showing us what has happened in the past and what may possibly happen in the future. Even though things may not turn out exactly the way they did in the past, the theme is the same. Income inequality, government shakeup. All by the time 2020 ends, which is when the transit of Uranus and Taurus ends, absolutely nothing. I want to say this again to you because I want you to understand what it is. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to get you to look at this shit from a realistic standpoint. This is the real deal, baby. Nothing will be the same. Nothing will be the same. Okay? Not politics, not banking, not life in general. Another strange thing, in 2000, I forget what college it was, lobbied the government to start medical marijuana testing. Now the crap's legal in most places. I don't know if any of you know the band Rage Against the Machine. They shut down Wall Street under the Occupy movement. And that Occupy movement gave offshoots to things like Anonymous, Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement. So whenever eclipses come around, and when they fall at a critical degree, and a critical degree is either 29 degrees or 30 degrees. And the reason why that's critical is because it's a planet or a body moving from one sign to the next. And that's always a very, very stressful time. It's changing energy. Depending on where it's moving into, what house it's moving into, is going to throw things into tension in that area of life. So we know that Leo, excuse me, rules children, lovers, baby, royalty. Okay, so we're looking at monarchs or people who pretenders to the throne, heirs and spares, junior demographics, dating, sex, romance. One of the ancient interpretations of the fifth house was gambling and losing money, inveterate gamblers. So you want to try to find, those of you who have your charts from me, if you have not received your sun sign chart, you really need to hit me up at the support desk ticket so that I can get that chart to you. And find where 0 degrees of Leo falls on your chart. Okay? Because this can kind of give you an idea of where something is about to shift and about to change for you. It may not be a direct shift and a direct change. It may not happen on that particular day. But you can rest assured, because it's coming under an eclipse, it will have a far-reaching effect. This could be things like in vitro fertilization, grandchildren, adoption, foster children. Maybe you're a coach. These are things that are changing. It has to do with sex, okay, and children. It's about leadership. The fifth house, Leo. So if you haven't gotten your solar chart for me, because everybody's story is going to be different, please contact me through the support desk link on the website. Let me know that you want your sun sign chart, and I'll go ahead and create that to you and email it off to you. Get your chart, and then come back into the website and go underneath the astrology articles and read. If you have any questions, you know that you can post them underneath those particular articles. All right. With that being said, we're just going to, I'm going to be bringing you the 9-card reading with the Fantastical Creatures Tarot. All right. And for some of you, this may not be necessarily the idea of children, but if your finances are struggling and you got kids, you want to think about how you're going to keep a roof over their head, how you're going to feed them, how you're going to send them to college, how you're going to buy them clothes, what happens if they get sick. So these are real world things. And so I don't ever try to bring you the astrology to... Most people read astrology because they want to know about love and relationships. Okay, that's great, but are you going to look at that to the exclusion of everything else that's happening in your life? That's not realistic. So it's time to get real, and we have Saturn in his ruling sign of Capricorn. And Saturn is about limitations. He's about restrictions. He's about getting serious about and facing the truth and the reality of whatever you find yourself in. And how are you willing to roll up your sleeves and do the hard work? Okay. No, Saturn is not a fun damn planet. He's not. He's a real bastard. But the rewards can be so great if only you will face the truth and the reality of the situation, roll up your sleeves and do the work. Are you spending too much money? Do you have too much credit card debt? Are you trying to go up in your career? Do you want to go back to school? What do you want to do? Okay, what are you willing to do to get those things? And so Saturn is there to test you. And then if you can pass the test, if you do what is necessary, okay, without all the fluff, without all the white noise, without, a whole bunch of extraneous stuff coming in, if you can pinpoint the truth of the situation, roll up your sleeves and do the work, he rewards you mightily. He does, okay? So, because typically what will happen is his sun will come in behind him. His sun is Jupiter, okay? So Jupiter will come in and reward you. And it is literally like having a weight lifted off of your shoulders. I went through it some years ago, Saturn in my sign. It was tough. I'm going to tell you something. All right, 9 cards. Here we go. 3 of Cups. The World card. I will show you these cards. Here is the 8 of Pentacles. Right there. Okay. And just generally, these 3 cards are telling me that you have an opportunity now to come together with either loved ones or during business to really work. The World card is a Saturn card, and it talks about the end of a cycle. But this 8 of Pentacles typically on the backside talks about just putting your nose to the grindstone and doing the work. Eventually you're going to perfect whatever it is. That's the Apprentice card. Here's the Tower. Here's the Page of Cups. Here's the Ace of Wands. Now, this is a general reading. It will not resonate with everyone. That requires a personal reading, and I think I'm going to go ahead. I have an Akashic Records reading on sale now. It's half price for members. If you have not gone in and read the member message underneath member place, you need to do so because the sale ends tomorrow. For many of you, you've been contacting me about Akashic Records readings. Now it's on sale. This is your opportunity. But I'm also going to put a tarot card reading up. I'm probably going to do 45 minutes. Let me think about that. And at the end of the reading, I'll tell you. 6 of Swords. The Emperor. and there's our Jupiter card. Okay, this is Jupiter in Leo. That's the energy of the card. Jupiter is now in Sagittarius. Here is the Four of Pentacles. Fours represent the material plane of stability, solid foundations, things being okay as they are, right? It can also be the idea of hanging on to your finances. It's known as one of the builder cards, all right? Taking what you have now, all right, looking at it, viewing it from all different sides, whatever kind of resources, and resources are not just finances. It is your skill, it is your knowledge, it is your experience, what you bring to bear on a situation, what you bring to the table. Okay, how can I take those things? I've got that solid base, that solid foundation, and what do I do with it? Do I hang on to it and not invest it, or do I determine that I'm going to move forward with it? Okay, that's the Four of Pentacles. So in the spread itself, I have 1, 2, 3 major arcana cards, 2 cups, a pentacle, 2 swords. I'm sorry, is it 2 swords? No, 1 swords and 1 wands card. Let me do that again. 1, 2, 3 major arcana, 2 cups, a swords, 2 wands, okay, and a pentacle. Now, this Tower card here, the Tower card is a funny energy, and mind you, this represents Uranus. Now, I've been talking to you about Uranus and Taurus, but Uranus retrograded. Uranus moved into Taurus May 8th, okay? And then as soon as it got there, it turned around and it backed up into Aries. So remember me telling you some months ago that when Uranus rules your first house of self, your reputation, your brand, your profile, it rules the self and the ego. And remember I said to you, you're going to see that idea of Uranus typically rules things like technology, okay? Medical discoveries and invention, space travel. It deals with electronics and communications, those things, lightning flashes and insights. And remember I was telling you, expect to hear those things about Facebook coming back up again. And then we saw that happening. We saw Mark Zuckerberg lose a whole bunch of money. Okay? So it is that energy of Uranus kind of sitting between Taurus and Aries that's kind of creating some havoc on a worldwide scale. Now, and the reason why I brought that up is because the Emperor represents Aries. Okay? So there's kind of that message. Now, there is pretty much no movement at the top. Then we see things start to move. Then we see real movement down at the bottom. Now, I don't like to read out further than 3 months. I never know what the cards are going to be talking about. And I am not accurate on timing, okay? The reason why I say that is because if I was accurate on timing, I wouldn't be here on YouTube. I'd really be doing some shit, okay? So, everything happens in its own divine time. But I do feel for some of you that an opportunity did come by, past, present, future, interplay of the cards, that some kind of opportunity came by, but then it fell through. It fell through perhaps quite rapidly. This Six of Swords, typically the Six of Swords represents the moving away of some kind of maybe traumatic event or unexpected event. Trying to gain some psychological space. Maybe this is really about you having to move. Maybe something happened and you literally had to move. I've seen the Tower card show up when it talks about hurricanes and floods, people's houses flooding, their basements flooding. It's about foundations, okay? And suddenly something happening or this insight coming that whatever you built your thing upon, it's not solid. And so Uranus comes in to take it out from under you suddenly and unexpectedly. Okay? Now these Wands cards over on the future side of the row give me hope that for some of you, whatever this Tower card represents, it really clears the way for you to start over. Wands always represent to me the idea of determination and willpower and strength and focus and energy. Swords are about thoughts, perceptions, ideas, and communications. Cups represent the idea of the emotional quotient of a situation. Pentacles represent not only the finances, but the physical plane, the doing of. Okay? I do feel for some of you, this is about some kind of relationship, be it a personal relationship, like a friendship, a romance, or a family relationship. For others of you, this is about business. I was listening to NPR the other morning. Some of these people who've been, it used to be working for the government was a surefire bet kind of job. Okay? And now I hear people saying, you know, I'm going to have to rethink my career choices. That's Pluto and Capricorn. Capricorn rules your career, your industry, the field in which you work. It rules governments, banks, large institutions. So what we're looking at is a major change here. Now, no matter what area you may be affected in. So, I'm trying to see, I have 2 6s. 2 6s speak to either instability in a relationship caused by insecurity or self-confidence issues. Okay? But 2 6s also speak to justifiable faith and trust in your partner, no matter if this partner is your job where you work or people that you're dealing with. Okay, relationships are not always romantic. So, let me read to you the meanings of these particular cards. Then we're going to clarify a few things using both the Sabila cards and the playing cards. Then we will pull both an angel answer and a romance angel card. So let's get started with the reading here. Right in the center, I have this Page of Cups. Pages bring news. They bring messages. And because it's a cup card, it is a news or a message that is either able to create some kind of emotional thing for you, or that has some high emotion surrounding it. It's not just about love. Okay? I think readers who and this is just my opinion, readers who only read those cups just as love do a great disservice, because it just represents emotions, and emotions can be fear, sadness, anger, depression, happiness, joy, exuberance. Emotions can be anything. So I'm going to start with this 3 of Cups. You will have the opportunity to move away from an unproductive emotional situation. Success, celebration, and abundance will soon arrive. You are moving out of a mental fog into a cycle of seeing things clearly. Remember, talking about moving away from something. Seeing things clearly, getting a better view. Here is the World card. And the major arcanas are the big cards. The World card says, a new cycle of spiritual growth arrives after a static period. A sudden turn of events will send your life in a new direction. All good things are within your reach. Attainment of goals, happiness, and recognition. Eight of Pentacles. This card can indicate professional progress. Hard work will bring you rewards and satisfaction. Ain't that the first thing I said to y'all? What are you willing to do to get where you want to go? But here's this Tower card. And this Tower card can simply be the idea that something occurred that you had no way. The events are out of your control. There was nothing you could do about it. So what do you do about something like that? The Tower card. Devastating events will soon turn your life upside down. This card can also represent someone who appears one way but hides a very different inner personality. And it speaks to events being out of your control. That's just the way life is sometimes. Okay? Well laid plans just go to shit. It happens sometimes. That is the cycle of life. That is that World card. It's letting you know that one cycle is ending and another cycle is about to begin. Did it come through heartbreak or loss? Maybe it did. Does it come through joy and something new? Yes. Okay. That wheel is always turning. Here is this Page of Cups. And this is a card, believe it or not, that is standing out to me. And I'm going to tell you why. Here's the Page of Cups. You should carefully consider emotional involvements. This could mean a message of love, an engagement, or a wedding. But it also says you have decided to take an emotional risk, but have no guarantee how your actions will turn out. This is a page. This is a fledgling news or message. This is a fledgling thing. It's not fully formed yet. So this could be the idea of wanting to take a risk, but being fearful of how things are going to turn out. Ace of Wands. Past efforts and thoughts directed toward change allow you to take on a new role or to make radical changes in your lifestyle. Isn't that just what I was saying? You know, this is about looking at the reality of the shit, okay? And then all of your past efforts and thoughts that you've been thinking about, you know what I mean, are going to allow you to help you move through whatever this Tower card is. And we will be looking at this Tower card. Now let's take a look at this Six of Swords here. You will travel or move from one place to another. It also says that there could be visits from distant friends or family. Any move you make will be positive. Now, that is the literal meaning in this card, but as I say, swords represent thoughts, belief, perceptions, and ideas. So this may not be that you will literally move or travel. This is about travel of the mind, those sudden insights, those epiphanies, those realizations. Here's the Emperor card. You know, everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different story. Good and powerful influences come into your life. Achievement and honor will come through the influence of a strong protective male. Now, it says if the surrounding cards are positive, this is a good time for business affairs. But if surrounded by negative cards, take great care in what you do and say. Past thoughts, working on something. Here is the Six of Wands. And normally the Six of Wands is a victory card, but sometimes victory comes at a high price, does it not? An important message will soon come to you in a dream or an unexpected event. Courage and determination are necessary to win your way through opposition. So some of you, I feel for some of you, this is an opportunity that's going to come back around with this strong male figure, whether this is a boss, the head of a company. I've been reading a lot for people, and this card has been showing up a lot. Oddly enough, these people are doing work in 501c and charities. That's what Taurus rules, but these are things that help children. So it falls back to that House of Leo and leadership, okay? Even though this is an Aries card. And I do feel that no matter how this situation plays out for you, something comes in and it changes it. For some of you, you may be dealing with somebody that if you don't know them well, or at all, Please take great care in everything that you do or that you say. For some of you, this Tower card, this devastating event, is going to kind of wake you up to what you need to be doing. It may give you a new focus and determination. For some of you, this could be about somebody coming out of the blue to help and assist you. So there are many different things and many different ways that this can play out. Let me take a look for you in this at this Four of Pentacles, because it sits over the whole reading. Okay. Financial security is on the way to make your life easier for some time. Now pay attention, because if you are hanging on to something that is no longer needed, you must release it before new opportunities and events can enter your life. Events out of your control. As I say, this is not always a negative card. Okay, this could be the sudden realization, shit, I'm carrying too much credit card debt. You know, or shit, this relationship is not working out for me. Be it work, romance. Okay, so it's not always negative, so don't freak out. But the Four of Pentacles is telling you, in order to get something new, you're going to have to let something old go. Why? The cycle is changing. It's time now. This eclipse is trying to clear some things out for you and move you to the next level. So when you hear the card about, when you hear the interpretation of a new spiritual, that's literally what that means. Your soul is trying to make the next step. And some of you may be standing in your own way. Some of you may have people trying to, through outside influences and things you can't control, are throwing you back in a place and making you fearful to step into the new. Okay? Every trial and tribulation that you go through is literally a spiritual journey, and it is designed to move you to the next level. Okay? Now, what I want to do, I want to pull, I'm going to use strictly the playing cards here. And what I want to do, I want to take a look at this Tower card with this Page of Cups. The first thing I'm going to do is look at this Page of Cups, because it sits in the center and there's everything going on around it. There's movement. Some of you, some kind of backward movement, so to speak. Okay? But right in the center, we have a card that's showing us to move towards the future. This could be the idea of, once you get there, taking a break and going back over everything. Because we always know that when we start something new, there are challenges. We don't know what the hell is happening. Why? Because it's new to us. So, but wouldn't it make life be very boring if we knew exactly what was going to happen and how it was going to happen? I mean, that would just be boring as hell. And we wouldn't learn shit. And we'd become lazy and complacent. And it goes back to how bad do you want it? So let's take a look first at this Page of Cups. Because typically this card would be considered a somewhat positive card, but there's this real forlornness, this energy of forlornness and sadness coming off of it for some of you. 10 of Diamonds, 6 of Spades, which is like another 6 of Swords, and a 4 of Diamonds, which is like another 4 of Coins. Now, I'm going to take one look. This is some kind of financial situation that has caused a separation and or a breakup. Okay? Whether this is, you know, you lost your job, losing your job, being furloughed, whether you done divorced, broke up, property issues, whatever the case may be for you, or the realization that, you know, ain't nothing in my life going the way that I want it to, then what are you going to do about that? But just keep in mind that it is a moment. It is a moment. And sometimes the idea of you have to let something go, you have to give up holding on to whatever that energy is that you're hanging on to. You have to release that energy, release the fear, release the anger, the resentment, the sadness. Release it, let it go, okay? So that you can make space for something new. The universe is trying to fill you with something new. Jack of Diamonds, 9 of Hearts, and a 6 of Hearts. Love and money. Money and love. Emotions and money. Money and emotions. Let's take a look. We're going to look first at this 10 of Diamonds. It's a moment, people. It's a moment. Some of these moments seem like they go on forever, but they don't. This says a change in financial status, often for the better. Sometimes you got to lose everything to appreciate, and start over and rebuild to appreciate the value, okay, in something. Because that's what money is equated to, value. Now, this 6 of Spades, it says small changes and improvements. With the 4 of Diamonds, it says a financial upswing. It also says that an older person may give you some good advice. If not necessarily older, like old. Typically this does represent an older male, or like a father figure, or a counselor, a leader, somebody who has a good reputation for giving good advice. All right? Keep that in mind. Now, this Tower card. Sometimes you meet people who are quite imposing and feel standoffish, but then once you approach them, they turn out to be one of the nicest people you ever met. Maybe this gives you an idea of who that person may be. But here's this Jack of Diamonds with these hearts. And the Jack of Diamonds says a jealous person, or someone who may be unreliable. It says it brings bad news. It's like a page of Pentacles. A bad news, but it's usually relatively minor news. That's why I say the Tower card is not always something majorly big. It could be something that just came out of the blue that you did not expect. It's not the end of the world. It simply means that what you thought you knew, or what you were building or forging ahead with, that shit wasn't solid. And somebody comes in with some negative news and just kind of rips everything out from under you. 9 of Hearts. Then what are you going to do about that? It says this is the card of wishes, okay, and dreams fulfilled. So for some of you, whatever this thing is, that was just taken away from you. And perhaps some of you are not quite exactly sure why things have happened the way that they happen. I'm going to look at these cards as they relate to the, the major arcana. The 6 of Hearts says a sudden wave of good luck. Someone who takes care of you and takes a warm interest in you. So again, it's this kind of like this idea that no matter what this is about, somebody has message, news, information, and can offer you help, advice, a path to move forward. Again, you're going to need to always choose in your best interest, okay? Because remember that this card also says that somebody's hiding their true nature. So just like they can look imposing and mean and yucky and you don't want to, they can also be very, very inviting and be a snake. Okay. Let me read to you what these cards mean as they relate to, and I can look at, all of these are pip cards, okay? And so what this tells me is this is happening on a mundane level. In other words, like your everyday life is being affected mentally, physically, what you're doing, how you're doing it, how you're feeling about it. Do you have enough energy and strength to get up and get out there and fight it? Maybe you need to leave it. Maybe you need to become more stronger, like the emperor, because he didn't become the emperor by being a pushover, right? So let's take a look at these. Wait a minute. these pip cards as they relate. Hold on, because I've got all my windows open. I was doing a bit of eclipse research. So we're going to take a look at the Three of Cups first. Nothing about the Three of Cups next to any of these cards. Eight of Pentacles. Sometimes this Eight of Pentacles next to the Tower card just means that you've been doing something and you've been working on it for a long time, and then suddenly it just kind of evaporates. Something happens, and all the work that you've done has in effect kind of been for naught. Okay? Or somebody comes in and tries to take something away from you. Okay, nothing about the Eight of Pentacles next to the Tower card. Ace of Wands. This can be the idea of a sudden, what do you call it? Not necessarily a windfall, but like the wind being taken out of you. Something happens and, you know, the wind's knocked out of you. Or it can be the thing that just says, oh, hell no. You get mad and then you get up and you do something about it. Okay? It all depends on this card. Now, I want you to listen. With the Ace of Wands, with the Tower, it may be indicating that you are currently unable to materialize your plans into relevant action. You may be feeling frustrated and tired because of efforts that showed little or no return. With the Three of Cups, well, yeah, it can indicate a birth or a pregnancy. But, you know, if you're not in child, and we're talking about the fifth house of children with Leo, this is not necessarily, it may not necessarily be about that. This could be the birth of an idea, the birth of a project. Underneath this moon, the fullness of it, and trying to bring that forth and into manifestation into the third dimension. Everybody has a different story. This is what I always tell you. People be getting mad. Your readings don't never, you know, buy a damn personal reading. This is a general reading, and it's talking about general things. You want to know what's happening. And then a lot of times those people who say that don't want to buy a reading because they don't want to hear what the cards have to say. But they'll complain that they're not getting what they want to know in the free reading. Whatever. Six of Swords. There is no 10 before or after. On some occasions, the Six of Swords may be suggesting that a severing of a relationship or close ties will be cut with a friend and or associate. The exact reasons for this, if not already obvious, will become very clear and obvious in a short time. It asks that you leave the past behind you as it is serving you no positive purpose at this time, and set your sights on the future as it looks very bright for you. Six of Wands. Nothing about the Six of Wands. Now, I'm going to pull one angel answer card. And I'm going to tell you something. After this eclipse is over, some of you will be getting some news or message. And I think quite rapidly. It may not be what you want to hear. Okay? So, you know, be prepared to duck and weave and try to figure out whatever it is you need to do if this is not good news for you. The reason why I say that is underneath this card is the Knight of Swords. Now, the Knight of Swords, The Knight of Swords typically represents the truth of the situation, but that sword can be double-edged. It could be some kind of thing that has you moving. Y'all know that knights to me represent events. So there's movement behind this eclipse coming. Of what? I don't know. Now, I'm going to pull one more card. All right, so formulate your question. Message news, get more information. Okay? Go back over past thoughts and deeds. What do you need to work on? What do you need to alter? What do you need to let go so you can move forward? You're being given a grand opportunity here. Nobody's saying that on the other side of this shit's going to be like easy and gravy street. Oppositions, you're going to need to be focused and determined to move your way through this. Whatever that means for you. Let's read it. My mom just called, so I have to call her back. It says positive growth and expansion is on the horizon for you. This opportunity may bring with it inspiration and insight, or it could be the chance you've been waiting for to take action on ideas you already have. You may be seeking to manifest the chance to create changes in your career, buy or sell a home, or bring romance into your life. Whatever your desires, your angels are about to open a door of possibilities for you. Remember I said this is about stepping through, and that's what it says. It says step right through. If you need some help, some guidance, some counsel, website members, as I say, that Akashic Records reading for you is half price. Some of you want to come over and join the website for 30 days for $7 to get that half price discount. I suggest you do so. I'm going to put the 45-minute reading on sale. I'm going to make it $35. It'll be $37 and some change with the fees for PayPal. Click on the eye. All right. Click on the eye. That'll take you directly over to the website where you can purchase products and or you can join. By the time you read this, I will have that sale on the 45-minute reading up. So until next time, this is a 2-week out window. Okay. Usually the cards we start on a 2-week window. But because this is an eclipse, this could play out 3 months, 6 months, all the way out to 19 years. Major stuff. So, until next time, thank you for allowing me to read for you, and namaste.